Hello people of the earth and welcome back to QuickSaveTV. My name is Mike and today we're taking a look at the XCOM Chimera Squad, a new XCOM game coming out that's been announced yesterday. I'm really excited. I really cannot wait to play it. It looks really interesting. And I wanted to talk a little bit about it. What do I think it's going to be? What can we expect, etc. So, first and foremost, this reminds me XCOM Apocalypse. It was the game in XCOM series back way back before the new XCOM from Firaxis, and it was the game, it was a game about trying to repel the alien threat while maintaining a semblance of order and building alliances within a city that was going to hell, right? And it looks like a similar situation here, but you're not trying to repel aliens, you're trying to preserve order. You're essentially playing as an, not an XCOM anymore, you're playing as a SWAT team full of humans and aliens and hybrids who are trying to successfully control the city and try to make sure it doesn't get too far out of hand. In this game now we're using an APC in which we move around the map and we try to do the missions which prevent the situations from escalating. And one of the interesting things that they introduce is the breach mode. This mode, from what I'm seeing, is it will allow you to... It will add a layer of thinking to the game where you have to figure out, okay, what kinds of characters work well together in terms of opening a battle, in terms of starting the battle. What kind of characters do I want to take with me in order to flank and obliterate as many threats as possible or get in a great position as early in the game as possible. A lot of the characters have nice synergies and combinations, and it's completely different classes from what we've seen before. Some of the skills that they have are similar to what we've seen before, some are never before seen. A lot of the enemies we're going to encounter are very similar, so it's difficult to consider this as a full XCOM experience, and I'm yet to understand what kind of game is it going to be. It looks to be completely designed on the engine of XCOM 2, with very similar graphics. Not bad by any stretch of imagination, very beautiful, but it doesn't look like a huge leap forward. In terms of combat mechanics, now this is big and interesting. For any of you who played the games like the Banner Saga, it's probably the best example. Now in the Banner Saga, you take turn enemy, you enemy, you enemy, and there's an interesting dynamic in that, so... In the Banner Saga, you never want to kill enemies. You want to make sure that the enemies are left weak and paralyzed, unable to hurt you. That's the true way to beat the Banner Saga. And here, well, I don't know what we're going to see. So it's a completely different XCOM, and your skills in XCOM Enemy Unknown and XCOM War of the Chosen will definitely not completely translate here, because it's a completely different game. Another thing I've noticed is that every character seems to have a drone face. So it has a special portrait, it has a special name, so I'm yet to grasp how it's going to work. Do we have a cast of pre-designed characters? Do we have a combination of different things? It's really interesting for me to see, but that's something to watch out for. So this seems to be like a story-driven DLC. Not that XCOM War of the Chosen doesn't have a good story, or XCOM Enemy Unknown. They also have great stories. But here they're trying to flesh out a little more of the handcrafted characters, I think. And we'll have to see how these characters will work in this new setting. Now, overall, from what I'm seeing, it's a very... it's a freestyle type of innovation they're looking for here. They're using a lot of the old mechanics, but they're intermixing with a lot of the new mechanics. I don't know how much work and development has been put into this, but it looks like a test that they're trying to run to see what they're going to build in the future. And I, for one, would really like the Apocalypse from Firaxis, because I've never played it myself, but I've watched a ton of videos about it, and I don't like the pacing, I don't like the balancing, I don't like the gameplay so much of the original Apocalypse, and I would really like to see how Firaxis can innovate on this structure. But I like the idea, you know? I like the idea of managing the city, I like the idea, and I like the attempt from the... there's a game called... in which... it's called... Well, I don't remember how it's called. It's a simulation game in which you control cyborgs or androids or something, and you're trying to dominate the city, and it was really not good. Yeah, and but the idea of working around the city and trying to establish the control and the relationships with factions really appeals to me. Now, in terms of the base management, well... what do we see here? We see the classic management of what kind of skills do you want on your characters. That's the classic. The equipment, sure. You see the supply and scavenger, which are basically the normal market and market. So you work as a police force essentially, and so you can buy from official sources or unofficial sources. A lot of the unofficial DLC, not DLCs, the upgrades for your guns are very similar with the previous game, from what I can tell. In assembly, you can build stuff just like in previous XCOMs. So I'm saying again, a lot of the features here, are, even the names of the enhancements, modular weapons and things like this, like completely the same if you think about it. Some of the new things that they added is essentially replacing your team members with robots, with androids, not androids even, just robots, which is a cool feature if you have a flat cast of characters. So it's kind of like in Rainbow Six Raven Shield, like when you get replaced with recruits when you lose your characters. And here you also have the training, which allows you to remove scars for some reason, and I would assume allows you to improve your characters in some other ways. The Spec Ops, much like in XCOM War of the Chosen, you will be able to send your characters for some time, and they will be able to give you benefits, maybe decrease the panic in the region, maybe recruit more people. So things like this. Overall, from what I saw so far, I'm excited, but I really don't know what we're looking at. I would like to see the gameplay, but I'm really happy that it's coming out. I'm really happy that the work on XCOM continues. It's a great series, and in Hands of Fire Axis, it's amazing job. And I like the diversis veribus, right? Diversity is strength. So, but in this case, it's really the case, right? It's not a metaphor. It's not an idea. It's everyone really brings something else to the topic, and it's real different species, right? It's not even different nationalities that we have on Earth. It's different species. So it's very interesting to see how it's going to look. All in all, I'm excited to see where they're taking the project. You can expect me to cover this game. I'm already putting my dollars away in a bin for XCOM, and yeah, I think it's going to be interesting. What do you guys think about the upcoming game? What was your favorite XCOM, the original or one of the new installments by Firaxis and 2K? So yeah, as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new video.